Hi, my name is Sarah Bonini, and I work for Santa Clara University. I work at the Jesuit School of Theology. Some of you may remember me from when I worked in the Alumni Association until very recently. I've changed roles at the university. I'm still doing alumni engagement, but I'm also doing donor relations at the JST. So I'm also a Santa Clara alum. I graduated in '93 from the law school. And then most recently, I graduated from the graduate program in pastoral ministries in 2021. So before I talk about our program, I wanted to let you know that there's a great team of people behind the retreat, and we've been working really hard to expand and make the retreat program even better than it's been in the past. So first, Lynn Lukenbill, who works with the graduate program in pastoral ministries. Lynn and I have been working on this for the past 3 years. And so Lynn is part of our team again this year. Tony Cortese, who works in the Ignatian Center. He's the program director for Ignatian Spirituality for faculty and staff on campus. Father John Arthur, he works at El Retiro, Jesuit Retreat Center in Los Altos, and he is an instrumental part of their Pierre Favre program, which is a program that trains people to lead the spiritual exercises. And he has a lot of experience in training people in the spiritual exercises. And so he is helping us this year too. Sister Ingrid Clemenson, who is a Dominican sister at the Mother House in Fremont, is also on the Pierre Favre team. And is sort of our curriculum guide as we look at curriculum for the retreat. And then finally, Marianne Stanislaw, who is an experienced retreat guide and retreat leader. She is also with the FAV program, and she has been one of our retreat guides for the past 3 years. Past 2 years is her 3rd year. So that's our retreat team. So as now I'd like to talk a little bit about our retreats that we're offering this year. And so I'm going to share my screen. I have a PowerPoint on the computer I'm on. I can't put it in the present mode, so you're just going to have to look at it like this. So first of all, what are the spiritual exercises? Some of you, this might be a brand new term for you. So the spiritual exercises were created by St. Ignatius of Loyola, who's the founder of the Jesuits. And when he was going through his conversion and his own spiritual journey, he found these different prayer methods and tools helped him come to different decisions in his life. And so he created these exercises to help others in their prayer life. And the purpose of the exercises originally was to make a big decision, or what's called an election in your life. That could be changing your job, deciding whether you're going to get married, entering the religious life. But it also has turned into really a way to go more deeply to know the living God through the person of Jesus Christ. And I think most of us who have done the exercises, this is why we want to do the exercises, is to become close and to develop a stronger union with God and ourselves in friendship, and to help us to know Jesus more nearly, love Jesus more deeply, and follow Jesus more closely. Kind of like that Day by Day song from the 70s. That's really the goal of the spiritual exercises, is to journey through Christ's life and our own prayer life for that union, and to see how we can model our lives after Christ. So that's sort of what the spiritual exercises are. So the spiritual exercises in their purest form are designed to be a 30-day silent retreat. And this is still offered at retreat centers. El Retiro offers them throughout the year. And they are an immersive, intense 30 days of silence, prayer practices. Not everybody can do that. I know I certainly couldn't do that. I did the exercises in 2020. So there have been developed what's called the 19th Annotation Retreat. And the 19th Annotation Retreat is taking that 30 days of silence and immersion into a 32 week retreat, spiritual exercises in daily life. And you go through the same 4 weeks that month of the retreat exercises, but it's just spread out, and you can do it as you live your everyday life. We also are offering a new 18th annotation retreat. And the 18th annotation retreat is also called the first spiritual exercises. And these are for people who can't make the commitment for the 19th annotation 32 weeks. And so I'm going to talk more about those in the presentation, but they are basically 4 standalone retreats, and you can do one or all 4 or skip around, or, whatever. So these are intended for people who can't make the 19th annotation retreat, or also for those retreatants who did make the spiritual exercises and they want to continue their growth in Ignatian spirituality with the exercises, but aren't going to be doing the full 19th annotation again. So when you're looking and praying about what retreat might be best for you, the 19th annotation or the 18th annotation. So just a real quick snapshot, and we're going to go into more depth. The 19th annotation is really great for someone who has established daily prayer practice and maybe some prayer journaling, and really, immersing yourself into that prayer time that has a significant prayer time every day. And you may have some familiarity with Ignatian spirituality and prayer, and that could be something that would be really great for someone who has the time to do the 32-week retreat. The 18th annotation could be for somebody who maybe they have a big, work commitment coming up or family event coming up, and they don't have time during the year that it's like, oh, I just can't do it. Or you don't have an established daily prayer practice. You're unfamiliar with Jesuit or Ignatian spirituality and prayer, but you want to go deeper into that. That might be the 18th annotation might be a great option for you. And also, I'll be talking about this more later, but you'll have some help to decide, if you're not sure which retreat's better for you, there's help for you. And you'll be meeting with somebody who can help you determine that. So at the beginning of the retreat, you will be matched, and we'll talk about how that happens later, with a retreat guide, someone who's experienced, who's been trained in giving these spiritual exercises. Many of them are graduates from the El Retiro Pierre Favre program, as well as there are other wonderful, there's a SEAL program in Sacramento and in Portland that also train people to give the spiritual exercises. So you will be matched with someone, and we'll talk about the matching process later. And you will be at the beginning, throughout the whole time, if you do the 19th annotation, you're going to be meeting with that person weekly. And at the beginning, you're going to be getting to know each other to see if you connect, if you click. You may not. We've had pretty good luck in matching people. We really pray about it, and people fill out an application, and the guides fill out a form too. And so we're able to really match people well, but it doesn't always work. And so that's fine. Those first few weeks are just trying to getting to know each other. And at the end of that time, or, maybe pretty soon into it, you may decide, I think that I might need somebody else who would match me better. That's fine. Just reach out to us and we'll find you another retreat guide. This is a very common thing to happen. The retreat guides are used to this happening. This isn't something that's unusual. So don't be afraid of that. You also have the option to meet on Zoom or in person with your retreat guide. And in the application process and the guides form too, you'll say which one you want, and then we can match you based upon that. This is the next part that's a little sticky sometimes for people, is the cost. So this is something that you should, at the very first time you meet with your guide, either on email when I match you via email, or at your first meeting, is to decide when and how and the cost of what the retreat is going to be. So generally, just to give you an idea, The average, we did some research and looked around the country, and if you were to do the full 30 days or the 19th annotation through a retreat center, it works out to be about $50 per session. And that means $50 a week. That's a lot of money. And, not everybody can afford that. Well, fortunately, there's a sliding scale available. Many of our retreat guides are either in religious life, or they may be doing the FAV program at El Retiro, and they're in their 3rd year. And so it's an internship year. They don't take any money at all. Or you may decide, well, I can pay $25 a week, or I can pay $10 a week. And that's something that you and your guide will discuss. Once the match has been made, then you decide what the cost will be, when you'll meet, how often you'll meet, where you'll meet, all of that. You're on your own for that. I'm happy to help if you need it, but for the most part, that's between the two of you. Sometimes when the retreat guide says, you know what, I don't accept any money. I'm in a religious life, or I'm in the FAV program. I can't take any money. But as a retreatant, you say, oh, I really want to contribute. Then you could decide to make a donation. You could make a donation to somewhere at Santa Clara. You could make a donation to El Retiro or another place. So when I was doing my spiritual exercises, my retreat guide was Father Andrew Rodriguez, who is at El Retiro. And so I decided to just do a donation to El Retiro instead of paying him directly. Since he was a priest, he didn't take the money directly. So I just did a donation to their spiritual direction program on a monthly basis. I donated. So where do you get your materials from, your curriculum, so to speak? Well, the guides all have their own way of presenting the retreat. The basic way the retreat is presented and the flow of the retreat and what you do is the same, but there are so many incredible books out there and materials, and each retreat guide may have something a little bit different or may bring in some things, and they will help move you along the retreat. The retreat, if you're doing the 19th annotation, is generally 32 weeks, but you may stay on 1 week a little bit longer. Your retreat guide may think that, you know what, let's stay here for a little bit. Or you may have really found that week to be an incredibly fulfilling week, and so you want to stay there a little bit longer. But the materials are provided by the retreat guide. It might be a book they might ask you to purchase, or they may just give you every week handouts of helping you lead through, like what scriptures you're going to read each day, or what type of prayer practice you might be doing throughout the week, or things like that. So that's going to be provided by the retreat guide. So another really great aspect of the 19th annotation retreat is that we have monthly retreat and reflection evenings. Last year, they only happened 5 times, and we received resounding feedback from the participants that they really wanted to meet monthly. And so we have decided this year we would do it monthly. And the monthly meetings are not, they're highly recommended, strongly recommended / required. We can't really require you. You're not going to get kicked out of the retreat if you don't go, but we're strongly recommended that you attend these. So at these meetings, they are just for those retreatants, and some retreat guides will come too, who are doing the current 19th annotation this year. And you will be at the evening, there will be a presentation of some type of Ignatian spirituality topic or a prayer experience that maybe people have been coming across during the past month and during their spiritual exercises. And they will do a short presentation to go a little bit deeper into one of those. And then you'll be put into a small group, and you'll be in that same small group all 9 months with the same retreat facilitator. And it will be one of the retreat guides from the retreat, probably not your retreat guide, but somebody else. And you will just have group discussion. And this is a way not only to really get into depth with more into depth with an Ignatian spirituality topic, but it also gives you a chance to connect with other people who are doing the retreat with you. I know that when I did the spiritual exercises, I had 4 friends who were going through it at the same time, and we met every week and talked about where we were on the retreat, what different experiences were coming up, what graces we were receiving, what challenges we were having. And it was really great when, somebody else, has that same experience, or they might have had some type of, experience that was different than yours. And you're like, wow, I didn't think of it that way. And it just sort of helps deepen your retreat experience. So those are monthly. Some important dates to keep in mind. So you're watching this session and you may still have some questions. Well, we are going to have an info session on Zoom, and it's just a Q&A, and it's going to be on August 22nd at 12:30 p.m. So lunchtime, hopefully that works for people. We want you to register by Friday, August 26th. And you register with an online application. And the application has a series of questions. Some of them are just sort of, basic get to know you, logistical questions, your name, do you want to meet by Zoom? Do you, how much are you comfortable paying? But then also there is, we ask that you write a reflection. Essay is too strong of a word. It's a very daunting word. It's not an essay, but it is a more in-depth reflection than just a couple of sentences. And we have some writing prompts that will tell you, what we want to have you discuss in your reflection, your prayer experiences, your spiritual journey, your comfortable with how much time in prayer do you spend, Ignatian spirituality, things like that. And so we really ask that you take some time to prayerfully reflect on that question and answer it. And that really will help us to match you with the appropriate guide for someone. And that is due the 26th. And then by the 30th, we will have all the matches made. You'll be connected with your retreat guide via email. And then starting in September, we'll begin the preparation days. What are the preparation days? So those are in September, and really those are focusing on God's abundant love for us. And you're going to be meeting weekly with your retreat guide, and your retreat guide is going to help listen to those interior movements that are happening within you, that you're getting closer to God in faith, hope, and love, or those interior movements that are inhibiting you from getting closer to God in faith, hope, and love. So during that time, it's going to be a great way to get into the rhythm of what the 19th Annotation Retreat is about. You're going to be dedicating 30 to 40 minutes of daily prayer. And this is a really great time to determine if the 19th Annotation is right for you. And at the end of September, then you will start beginning your spiritual exercises in daily life, the 19th Annotation, or you may decide, or your retreat guide may encourage you that maybe this isn't the right time for you for whatever reason to do the 19th Annotation. So you might decide to do the 18th Annotation. Now, you don't have to go through these preparation days if you only want to do the 18th Annotation. The signups for the 18th Annotation are separate, and those will be available at the beginning of October. Maybe sooner. We're still working on the registration piece for those, but you may decide, I'm going to do the 18th Annotation. So what's the format of the 18th Annotation? How is that different from the 19th Annotation? Well, I'm glad you asked. So this is actually a new retreat series, and we're super excited about it. There were several people who were really interested in Ignatian spirituality, and they came to some of our reflection evenings, but they weren't quite ready for the 19th Annotation for whatever reason. And there were also some people who did the 19th Annotation, and they wanted to continue with going deeper with Ignatian spirituality. And so this retreat series is for them. So the retreat is 4 separate retreats. Each retreat is 6 weeks long, and we're doing one in October, one in January, February, one February, March, and the final one in May, beginning of June. We're going to be using the curriculum, My First Spiritual Exercises by Michael Hansen. And these are guided retreats. Each retreat is for 6 weeks. So really 6 meetings, but 4 weeks. And so what happens is you will purchase the book, and at the beginning of each week, I'll go into that in a minute, what happens. But you will be meeting each week on Mondays from 6:30 to 8 p.m. The dates are on the screen. And you'll be put into a small faith sharing group, and you'll be put into one group for the entire retreat, whether retreat 1, 2, 3, or 4. And they're all going to be on Zoom. You'll be put in a small faith sharing group with a facilitator who is an experienced retreat, small faith sharing group guide. You only have to you will sign up for each retreat separately. If you can't do all 4 retreats, you don't have to. If you can only do 1, if you can only do 3, if you want to do all 4, it doesn't matter. They're all standalone. They are focused each one on a week of the spiritual exercises, but it's not necessary for you to have done the one before the previous retreat to do the current retreat that you're signing up for. So this is great for someone who has a really busy fall and a really quiet winter and a really busy spring. They can just do the winter one, or whatever works for you. So this is a really great opportunity. So what is the format? What's this retreat like? How is it different from the 19th annotation? So as I said, you're going to be purchasing the book. You're going to be receiving a weekly email with prayer work and guided reflections. What does that even mean? So Tony Cortese, I'm just giving a huge shout out to Tony because he's worked really hard on this. He's doing this program also for faculty and staff at Santa Clara. And he has taken the different retreats and he's put them into a format of a guided meditation. And Tony and Marianne and I are recording these reflections. And so you will receive on the beginning of the week, what you're to do each day. And it's for 5 days. So you work on it for 5 days. And then the last 2 days of the week, Saturday and Sunday, have some optional action items. Or if you want to go back and repeat one of the other weeks, you can. So you have the option of just meditating and doing the prayer reflections, just reading them on your own, or Tony has worked with us and we've recorded meditations with music and things like that. And you'll be having one for all 5 days of the week. And that is for each separate retreat. So if you were to do retreat 1, we would meet at the first meeting and we'd talk about the retreat. We'd have a prayer experience, what we're going to do. And then you would receive your prayer work for the week in an email with the guided reflections. And then we'll meet again the next Monday and we'll talk about that week before in your small groups and what graces you received and how God's moving in your life and how that went for you. And then you'll receive an email for the second week of prayer work with the 5 guided meditations if you want to use those, or you can just use what's written in the book too. And it goes like that. And then the final meeting is the 6th meeting. And that is just sort of like a whole wrap up of the retreat and the graces you've received from the retreat. So we're very excited about that. We will also be having a Q&A on this in October closer. We haven't determined the date yet, but if you're wanting to hold off and just do the 18th annotation for standalone retreats or one of them, there will be a time to answer questions there too. So where to sign up? Here's the website where the registration or the application, and if you want to sign up for the info session on the 22nd, it is on the JST website. So that's it. And I really want to thank you all for tuning in and listening. And I hope this shed some light on for you on our retreats that we're offering. And again, if you have any questions, please join our Zoom on the 22nd at 12:30. And we can answer any questions that you have, or you can email me. My email is sbonini@scu.edu. So thanks again, and I look forward to hopefully seeing some of you at the retreat.